Hey everyone, let's welcome our newest speaker, Lisa Stafford, Education Technology Leader, Fauquier County Public Schools.
All
Did I
right.
say that right?
Fauquier County Public Schools.
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Woo!
All right. I am Lisa Stafford, and I am the Educational Technology Leader for Fauquier County Public Schools. I am in the role that Tina once was in before. I've been an educator, a classroom educator, for about 21 years, and with the encouragement of Sydney Kelly, my my partner in crime, encouraged me to take on the role of ITRT. So I was ITRT for about 5-6 years and then moved up into this position. But anyway, so we can't talk about technology challenges without talking about generative AI. And as the image over here shows, it kind of shows how we felt when generative AI came on the educational scene. It just felt like wild horses stampeding. So I'm going to share with you today a little bit about how we kind of tried to take the reins of AI in our county. So we're going to talk a little bit about the good, the bad, and the unknown. So when generative AI first entered in the scene, we had a lot of different reactions to it. We had educators that responded with worry and concern. They had questions of, what data is it going to use? Is it going to replace my role? Is this going to encourage taking shortcuts and cheating? And there was a lot of fear about AI being misused and taking away the accountability for learning. So those were some concerns that a lot of the teachers had. But on the other hand, we also had educators that viewed the arrival of generative AI with eagerness and enthusiasm. They were thrilled about the opportunities that it was going to give, and maybe a little overboard to the point where they may have overlooked the limitations and risks of AI. And then while all that is happening, AI continued to improve and evolve rapidly. More platforms were coming out. So for us, and I'm sure for many other districts, we felt the pressure of trying to figure out, what do we need to do or figure out how AI was going to look for our schools. So the real task became a balance between the fear and the enthusiasm, and kind of reining all of that in, and trying to empower educators on using AI intentionally, ethically, and effectively. So our goal became trying to demystify, kind of pulling back the curtain on AI and have educators kind of see the good, but be aware of the bad, and kind of learn more about it so that there's, not the unknown for them. So how did we prepare ourselves for a showdown with AI? Well, the first thing we did was formed a posse. Yes, so there is a theme. So we formed our posse, which became our AI committee. It was a small group of ITRTs that we kind of pulled in, and we had a lot of dialogue about AI. We had a lot of questions that that came up about AI. Questions like, how do we ease the teachers' fears of AI? But at the same time, how do we guide them through responsible use, especially for those that were really, on board to really use it and take off with it? Can we prevent plagiarism and cheating? Because that was a big concern for a lot of our teachers, in working with their students. And what platforms do we use? Which one is best suited for what we needed to do in our district? And then probably the one question that we all asked was, how are other school districts handling this? Are we in this boat by ourselves, or are we the lone rider on the horse? But it was good to know in talking with other districts that we weren't alone. That they were feeling the pressure just as much as we were. So after several discussions and research, because we also kind of delved into AI and kind of tried to learn for ourselves, we quickly realized that the first step we really needed to take was empowering our teachers. And at this time, we were focusing just on our teachers and they kind of were our priority. We weren't looking at students using AI or opening AI to students yet. We just weren't ready for that. So that was going to be another challenge that we would tackle at a later time. But right now, we just kind of wanted to focus on our teachers and having a way that they can responsibly use AI to enhance their instruction and to provide an enhanced learning experience for their students. So with that said, we began to look at planning for meaningful and relevant PDs for our teachers. So the committee, along with a whole team of ITRTs, we sat down, looked at different components of AI that we wanted to inform teachers about, and developed 3 self-paced online PDs that we offered them. We also planned for and hosted an AI summit over the summer. And the summit, we had several sessions that kind of focused on different parts of AI, like data security and privacy, plagiarism prevention, prompt engineering, rethinking how we instruct with AI, and then keeping the human in the loop. And the feedback that we got from the teachers were positive. I know that a lot of them had kind of mentioned in their response that they were very appreciative of the crafting prompt because then they learned that, with effective prompting, they actually got the outcome or result that they were looking for coming from AI, and that kind of helped them a little bit more. And I know in our first group, we talked a lot about how important that prompting is with AI. The other thing that they appreciated was kind of looking at the AI platforms that we have approved and learning how to navigate that and to kind of harnessing the features that they had to kind of take the workload off of them and kind of ease some of the mundane tasks that they kind of do. So that was nice for them to be able to learn the different platforms that we had that would allow them to do that. And then finally, and I know Tina kind of talked a little bit about this in her presentation, we utilized our app committee. So we do have a small number of ITRTs that are on an app committee, and what they do is review and evaluate apps that are being requested for approval. So we had them look at different platforms for AI. And we also had them kind of go back and review some of the approved products that we already had, because a lot of them were starting to embed AI. So we had to kind of go back and look at those things as well. But in the process of approving AI platforms, we try to really evaluate for quality and for relevance. Is it going to be a product that is going to help our teachers in what they need to do? We also focused on making these apps only available to staff, because like I had mentioned before, we weren't quite ready to open it up to students just yet. So we were just focusing on staff for the moment. And to kind of help keep our staff from being overwhelmed, we really did kind of limit some of the AI tools that we were approving, because as Tina had mentioned before, just the app committee in general, we had so many apps, and to, kind of not put our teachers through some app fatigue trying to decide, oh my gosh, which app should we use? We did limit it down to just a few. But of course, we are getting more AI embedded in products that we already have existing. So that's also something that we kind of need to consider in our challenge. Oh, I thought maybe I was moving around too much. You were telling me to Thank you. So that was kind of the way we went. So as we and like I said, we didn't go in guns blazing when we went to take the reins on AI. We were just trying to take incremental steps, kind of using that the idea of the 1% improvement. As you go each time, will make a big impact. So our steps were kind of small, and this is where we started. So in that process, we did focus on certain areas for our teachers when we were kind of going through the PDs. And one of the focus was a human in the loop. We tried to emphasize that, it was important for teachers to maintain that human oversight when they were using AI or using AI in their practice. We can't, AI is not going to replace human judgment, empathy, or creativity. So we really stressed that the need for the human to be in the loop was important in evaluating what outcomes AI put out, not just taking AI's suggestion, but maybe building on it, tweaking it a little bit so that it fit them a little better for what they wanted to do. And just, kind of questioning some of the assumptions that AI might have, because we do know that there can be some biases to AI, so just making sure to check for those things. So we did, really preach, about make sure that you are the person that's making the final decision on, what feedback you're getting back from AI. The other part that we kind of hit on and honed on as well is the intentional use of AI. We don't, with other apps, there is that consumption, but then there is using digital tools to create. And so we want to make sure that we're still focused on critical thinking, creativity, and using AI in a way that kind of builds on that. And not, having that over-reliance on AI to do the task for you. We don't want to lose the ability to think critically, to kind of, reason and then, create for ourselves. And then the other one, and which was a big thing that we're really pushing, is the security and data and ethical use of AI. We are really preaching to our teachers, this is another thing that we hit hard on, to not enter any PII or sensitive educational records into any AI platform or engine, just to kind of keep those information out, and what information you put in should be generic and broad, and not specific to any one staff member or student. So we really hit on that. And then we also included AI in our acceptable use policy as well, so that teachers really understood, please refrain from doing that. So going off into the sunset and looking ahead, we get my notes here. As a district, we are committed to continuing development and thoughtful integration of generative AI in our practice. We are planning to expand on our professional development. We actually have, actually working with Sarah, we are going to enroll our team of ITRTs in a 30-hour AI course. And our hope is that by the time they had that completion of the course, that they can then coach and collaborate with the teachers in the classroom on how to integrate AI into their instruction, and really kind of modeling the best practices with them, and kind of giving them guidance on how they can use AI for themselves and how they can probably give guidance to students, because we know, even though we as a school division haven't opened up AI to them, we know that they are probably using it outside of school. So we want to make sure that that the teachers have the good model to then turn around and share that model to their students as well. And kind of getting teachers to realize that sometimes you don't need an AI tool to kind of do a task. Sometimes there's certain tasks that can be done without it. And so being kind of intentional and cognizant about how you want to implement that into your teaching practice and providing, a learning experience with your kids. So just, determining which is the best tool to use. In addition to that, we have also started creating an AI component in our technology handbook. So we've started a technology handbook. So we're hoping that by putting those guidelines in the technology handbook, we'll have something kind of consistent across the county for the staff. And then possibly, when we're ready to dip our foot into it, looking at opening AI for the secondary students, and kind of planning a strategic approach on how we want to handle that. And it may be that, the teachers need to be trained first, and then we may have them kind of train the students on how to use AI, and then putting guidelines in there for the students. But that's something we're treading in very slowly at the moment. But that's it. That was kind of our plan. The journey to generative AI is far from over. We know that. We recognize that it's a dynamic and rapidly changing field. So we are just, trying to make sure that we are staying informed, keeping up with it, and continually, working to meet the challenges of AI.
Awesome. Wasn't this awesome, people?